Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins All World. Today, we're about to dive into the world of a coin that might just be hiding in your collection, worth much more than you think. We're talking about the 1975 Roosevelt dime, a seemingly ordinary coin that's earned a special place in the world of numismatics. While this coin is small, its value can certainly pack a punch. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just be looking at your own dime a little differently. Let's start by talking about the 1975 Roosevelt dime itself. The design on the obverse of the coin, created by John R. Sinek, features the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who served from 1933 until his passing in 1945. Roosevelt's likeness on the dime became iconic when it was first introduced in 1946, replacing the Mercury dime. The reverse side features a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength, but let's fast forward to 1975. While the 1975 Roosevelt dime is not one of the rarest or most sought-after coins at first glance, there are certain aspects of this coin that make it stand out in the collecting world. Like many coins from this era, it was minted during a time of economic change and shifting U.S. policies. The 1975 dime may not be widely regarded as a major rarity, but there's more to this coin than meets the eye. You see, one of the key factors that determine the value of any coin is its rarity. And in the case of the 1975 Roosevelt dime, the rarity often comes from something as small as an error during the minting process. These errors can make an otherwise common coin incredibly valuable to collectors. Some of the most sought-after errors on the 1975 dime include things like double die strikes, where parts of the design appear doubled or offset. This is caused by an issue at the minting press, where the coin is struck more than once. The result is a coin with a noticeable duplication of some of its details, like Roosevelt's portrait or the date itself. Another error that can make the 1975 dime particularly valuable is the repunched mint mark. This happens when the mint mark, indicating where the coin was produced, is punched into the die more than once. This results in a visible ghost of the mint mark, adding rarity and collectability to the coin. These errors aren't common, and when found, they can send a coin's value soaring. Now, aside from errors, the condition of the coin itself is crucial. The 1975 Roosevelt dime that you hold in your hand today might have been in circulation for decades. Many of these dimes were used in everyday transactions and are worn down by time. However, if you happen to stumble upon one that's in uncirculated condition or at least very well preserved, that's where the real value begins to shine through. Coins that have been stored carefully or never spent can be significantly more valuable than those that have been through heavy circulation. Dimes that show minimal wear, with clear and sharp details, are prized by collectors. In fact, a 1975 Roosevelt dime in excellent condition can be worth much more than just 10 cents, but let's talk about the big question: how much is a 1975 Roosevelt dime really worth? Well, for those of you lucky enough to find a 1975 dime with one of these rare minting errors or in pristine condition, it could fetch a staggering $33,500 when sold to the right buyer. Yes, $33,500 for a single dime. Imagine that, a single dime, just 10 cents, being worth that much. It's incredible to think that such a small coin could carry such a big value. Whether it's because of a minting error like a double die strike or repunched mint mark, or simply because of its pristine condition, the 1975 Roosevelt dime has proven itself to be much more than just pocket change. So, how do you go about checking your collection for a coin like this? Well, the first step is to carefully inspect your 1975 Roosevelt dime under magnification. Look closely at the date, Roosevelt's face, and especially the mint mark on the reverse. If you notice any doubling or errors, it could be time to have your coin professionally graded by a numismatic expert. It's worth noting that many coins from this era don't have significant errors, but that's what makes finding one so special. If you happen to come across a 1975 Roosevelt dime with an error, or in excellent condition, it could end up being a real treasure in the world of coin collecting. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting out, this is a prime example of how one seemingly small, everyday coin can turn into a valuable asset. So, next time you go through your spare change or take a look at your coin collection, make sure you're paying attention to those little details. That one 1975 Roosevelt dime you have in your collection might just be worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, we're diving into a coin that might be hiding in your collection right now, an often overlooked piece of American history that could be worth way more than its face value. We're talking about the 1980 Roosevelt dime. Now, don't be fooled by its small size or common appearance. This dime, with its rich history and the potential for minting errors, could be hiding a serious treasure. Let's start by exploring the Roosevelt dime itself. The obverse, featuring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, has become an iconic design since it was first introduced in 1946. Roosevelt, who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II, was chosen to grace the dime as a tribute to his leadership and legacy. On the reverse, you'll find a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, a symbol of liberty, peace, and strength. These timeless designs make the Roosevelt dime one of the most recognized coins in the United States, but here's where it gets interesting. 1980 may seem like just another year, but for those who know what to look for, this year's Roosevelt dime holds a lot of potential for coin collectors. The 1980 dime, while produced in vast numbers, holds value for a few specific reasons. It's not just about the year, but rather the condition and any rare minting errors that may have occurred during production. First, let's talk about rarity. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is king. And while the 1980 Roosevelt dime may not seem like a particularly rare coin at first glance, certain factors can make this coin extremely valuable. One of the biggest reasons some 1980 dimes are worth so much is the condition they're found in. Coins that have been well preserved, with little to no wear, are highly sought after. Most dimes from the 1980s saw heavy circulation, meaning many of them have been worn down over time. But if you happen to stumble upon one in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, you're holding on to a small fortune. Coins that are in pristine condition show sharp, clear details and are free from scratches, dents, or other signs of wear. For coin collectors, a coin that's in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition can command a much higher price than one that has been used in daily transactions. So, if you find a 1980 Roosevelt dime that looks like it just came out of the mint, you're in luck. You might be looking at something worth a lot more than just 10 cents. Now, let's move on to the minting errors. As with many other coins from the US Mint, errors can significantly increase a coin's value. A small mistake during the minting process can create a one-of-a-kind coin that collectors will pay top dollar for. For the 1980 Roosevelt dime, some of the most valuable errors to look for include double dies, where parts of the coin's design appear more than once. This can happen when the coin is struck more than once, and the result is a blurry or duplicated image, usually seen in the date or Roosevelt's portrait. These kinds of errors are highly sought after and can skyrocket the value of an otherwise common coin. Another common error that can affect the 1980 Roosevelt dime is the repunched mint mark. This happens when the mint mark, which indicates where the coin was made, is stamped more than once, often leaving a faint ghost of the mint mark next to the primary one. These errors make the coin stand out, and collectors love them for their uniqueness. So, why does all of this matter? Well, for coin collectors, finding an error coin or one in excellent condition can mean big bucks. The 1980 Roosevelt dime, despite being part of a widely produced series, has certain characteristics that make it worth checking through your collection to see if you've got a hidden gem. Now, we're sure you're wondering, just how much could a 1980 Roosevelt dime actually be worth? Well, if you have a 1980 dime with a minting error or in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, you could be holding onto a coin worth as much as $30,000. That's right, $30,000 for a single dime. Who would have thought that a small, everyday coin could hold such tremendous value? The value comes from the rarity of the coin in pristine condition, or from the uniqueness of any minting errors. So, if you happen to have one of these rare 1980 dimes in your possession, it could be time to have it professionally graded and authenticated. A certified coin could bring in thousands of dollars when sold to the right collector. In the end, coin collecting is all about the hunt for that one special coin, the one that can make your collection stand out and possibly change your life. The 1980 Roosevelt dime, with its potential for minting errors and high demand for uncirculated specimens, is one of those coins. So, next time you're going through your change or your coin collection, keep a sharp eye out for the 1980 dime. You could be holding on to something that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, we have an intriguing and often overlooked piece of American coinage that might just be sitting in your collection right now. It's a coin that many might pass over, but for the savvy collector, the 1987 Roosevelt dime has the potential to be a hidden gem worth a lot more than its face value. Yes, I'm talking about the 1987 Roosevelt dime, a coin that could be worth thousands of dollars if you know what to look for. Now, before we get into the specifics of how this dime can hold so much value, let's take a quick look at the history of the Roosevelt dime itself. First introduced in 1946, the Roosevelt dime was designed to honor the late President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945. Roosevelt was a beloved president, having led the United States through the Great Depression and World War II, and this dime was meant to honor his legacy. The coin features his portrait on the obverse, and on the reverse, you'll see a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, all symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. Over the years, millions of these dimes have been minted, but it's the specific years, like the 1987 Roosevelt dime, that hold the potential for being incredibly valuable. You might be wondering, how could a coin that's so common, so widely circulated, be worth much? Well, here's where things get interesting. In the world of coin collecting, it's not always about rarity in terms of how few coins were made, but also about the condition of the coin and the possibility of minting errors. Coins that are found in excellent condition, especially those that have been well preserved and show minimal wear, are highly sought after. When it comes to the 1987 Roosevelt dime, the value can skyrocket if you have one in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most dimes from this year, like many coins from the 1980s, were heavily circulated and may show signs of wear and tear. But if you find one that has barely been touched, you could be sitting on a rare treasure. Coins in pristine condition, those with sharp, clear details and no noticeable marks or scratches, are always in high demand among collectors. If your 1987 Roosevelt dime looks almost like it just came out of the mint, you could be looking at a coin that's worth far more than 10 cents. These high-grade specimens are the ones that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for, but it doesn't stop there. Another factor that makes the 1987 Roosevelt dime special are the possible minting errors. Minting errors are a big deal in the world of coin collecting. A single error can transform a seemingly ordinary coin into an extremely rare and valuable piece. For example, one of the most common and valuable errors you'll find on dimes like the 1987 is a double die. A double die happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing parts of the design to appear twice. This could happen to the date or even Roosevelt's image, and it's one of those quirky things that collectors are always on the lookout for. Another error you might find on the 1987 Roosevelt dime is the repunched mint mark. This happens when the mint mark, the small letter that indicates where the coin was made, gets stamped more than once. Sometimes, you'll see a faint, ghostly image of the mint mark next to the original one, making it a double mint mark. These errors are highly prized because they are so unique and add character to the coin. So, let's talk about how much a 1987 Roosevelt dime can actually be worth. If you have one of these dimes in uncirculated condition, or if it happens to have a minting error like a double die or repunched mint mark, you could be looking at a coin worth a staggering $29,800. Yes, that's right, nearly $30,000 for a single dime. The value of the 1987 Roosevelt dime comes from a combination of its condition and the rarity of any minting errors. Coins that are in exceptional condition or feature unique errors are always in demand among collectors, and they can fetch a premium price in the marketplace. Now, you might be wondering, how do you know if your 1987 Roosevelt dime is worth this much? Well, the first step is to carefully inspect it. Look for any signs of wear, damage, or scratches. If the coin appears to be in excellent condition, it's worth taking it to a professional grader to get an official evaluation. Grading is the process of determining the quality of the coin, and it plays a huge role in determining its value. Coins that receive a high grade, meaning they're in near perfect condition, are the ones that command the highest prices. Additionally, keep an eye out for any errors. If you notice anything unusual, like a double die or a repunched mint mark, it might be time to get the coin checked by an expert. Minting errors can turn a dime that would otherwise be worth face value into a rare and valuable collectible. So, there you have it, the 1987 Roosevelt dime, while seemingly ordinary, has the potential to be worth a small fortune. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, this coin is definitely one to keep an eye out for. And if you happen to find one of these dimes in pristine condition or with a rare error, you could be holding onto a coin worth $29,800. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you never miss out on future coin discoveries. Happy hunting, and who knows, that dime you have in your collection could be your next big find.